All right, make me proud, everyone. Go ahead.
Okay, that was good. That's good. I was emphasize that. In fact, let me show you.
Just got swag. Keep going.
Right, I have this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a document that I prepared that has a lot of the most useful websites. Let me put this in the chat. I'm going to give a bunch of documents during the course of this presentation. This is college.
So everyone take this moment, type what's the name of the book that Bill said is a really good book? The Fisk Guide to Colleges.
Okay. I'm just putting this in the chat. Okay, that's like a cheat sheet. So it sort of has a lot of useful information. Now I'm going to continue. Okay, so this is an example of a search engine. So you're just getting started. You want to explore different colleges. These search engines will ask you like location, size of the school, major, even if you have your SAT scores, just to kind of get a sense of the selectivity, etc. So it's kind of a very basic approach, but it's kind of like just kind of seeing what some names that come up. Okay, so the other big player in this arena with kind of at this point, we're just trying to discover what colleges might be best. So you cannot overlook the U.S. News rankings. It's in the news a lot. In fact, the New York Times had a front page article because Columbia University got demoted. They were 2 and they got dropped down to 18. So the point being that the rankings are so prestigious and so important that when something happens, it'll make the news. So the rankings should be taken with a grain of salt. They are based on like 30 different factors, and it's very heavily researched. But it's only supposed to be an attempt to do what? To show how selective the schools are and a measure of quality of the school. But I wouldn't like parse it where like 25 on the rankings are different than say 28. It wouldn't mean much, but something that's 15 would be much different than 30 or 40 or 70. So it does have that sense, and you can basically correlate it with selectivity. So that's something to consider, and it's free. So this is the website. So these are rankings that I just parsed out of it. This is the one from last year. So I'll put that in the. You can go to the website too. So the website is actually up here. So I put that there. So you can or you can Google U.S. News. Let me put this in the chat again also. So that's like a starting point. And there are 2 lists. There's the universities and liberal arts. I'm going to talk about that distinction in a moment.
And I just want to remind everyone, because there are about 10 people who just joined additionally, I want to just remind you that Bill is an expert with the college admissions and applications. And we are incentivizing the students. So please type into the chat. We are going to be saving this chat. And we're going to send it to the PTA and please, if you could, please use your name. What we're going to do is we're going to use this opportunity right now for you to take notes and type those notes into the chat. The PTA will select the best note students. Kweller Prep has donated $500 in t-shirts, sweatshirts, baseball caps, stickers, anything. Just take good notes. So we really want. So Bill was just speaking about the U.S. News rankings. Take notes. Fisk Guide, take notes. So we really want the chat box to be highly interactive. And that's it. Just make me proud. Chat as much as you can. Please be mindful of what you're chatting. I see the back end. Don't forget. All right. I'm very proud of you. Keep going. All right. Go.
Okay. I just was, as you were speaking, Francis, a parent chatted a question. Does it include public? Absolutely. So they don't make a distinction with public and private on this list. So like, but the very top schools are private. But I think that like major schools, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But there's some really high quality public universities, University of Michigan, University of Virginia, North Carolina, UCLA, UC Berkeley, et cetera. So those are great schools. And as far as the public goes, there is a big difference in public and private. And it's not that one's better than another. This is where someone who's 17 is a senior in high school or junior better, because you have to give yourself more time. I hope there's some juniors that are here today. This is a big deal. I mean, the college you go to could have a huge impact on your life. I mean, first of all, you're going to spend 4 years there. But what you learn those 4 years at that age, when 18, 19, 20, 21, your mind is soaking up all sorts of social, emotional growth, intellectual growth. It's so important to be in the right place. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these presentations. A lot of it is done just out of passion to help people, honestly. So I really want people to understand the impact, the importance of choosing wisely. So these are all kinds of steps that you can take. It is a learning curve, and it's very important, especially for parents and students. They're going through this the first time. They don't have an older sibling, or they just haven't learned about this stuff. So that's what this is largely about. Okay, so again, getting back to how do I learn about colleges? So, there's all this research, but there's no substitute for actually visiting the campus, especially with the COVID restrictions are being lifted. You will see if you visit the colleges that all possible effort should be put into visiting as many schools, even schools that you're not interested in, because you have to have a context. And how do you really know if you're not interested in it? And even if you weren't interested in it, to know that a school is the school for you, you have to compare it to something that's not good for you. So I've often seen situations where a student visited like 3 colleges and they fell in love with the first college, which is great, but you don't have a context. So when you do, one piece of advice about visiting a college is, if at all possible, try to meet students. They've all been in the shoes of a prospective student in the recent past. So they will definitely identify with you. And more than likely, they will share their experiences with you happily. And that's the way you learn about the school. Another little tip that very few people know: when you go to the admissions office, when you visit a college, you don't need necessarily need an appointment to set a time. If you do, that's great, but you can do it by improvising, just going there. Ask the admissions desk for a list of classes that you can visit. Many colleges will let you sit in on a class if you go during the week. And that's the best experience. I mean, you can sit in a class for 50 minutes and really get a sense of what the school is like, the questions, the mannerisms, the vibe on campus. Okay, so that's a big deal.
And I want to just take a moment just to interject. I'm waiting for someone to type this, as Bill, the genius guest speaker, is telling us. Visit, you can actually sit in. So for example, let's say you wanted to go to like NYU. You can actually ask and request to sit in a class. What if you wanted to go to Queens College, the Macaulay Honors Program? So you could actually ask to sit in on the class. Is that accurate? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, yeah. I want everyone typing. Okay, go.
Okay. So that's another dimension. So here's some other ways. I mean, what's another great way is the newspaper. So it's written by the students, and there's editorials. You get a sense of maybe the politics, the issues, the local issues that are going on. I mean, there's a lot of things happening on a college campus. You get a feel for it. So, like, this is the Cornell Daily Sun. This is their website. So you get a sense of it there. I mean, you might want to read the editorials, the opinion columns. So you just get a sense of what's going on. Okay. Here's Binghamton's paper. It's called The Pipe Dream. There's often more than one paper, but there's usually one main paper. It's typically daily for the larger schools. So I mentioned YouTube videos. One person I really recommend is Dominique Cynthia. She has a series called 73 Questions. So she identifies one usually very expressive student who really knows the campus, and she has the same 73 questions to them, and covers about 35 colleges she has. So it's really outstanding. It's really good stuff. But I think that the best thing is just browsing YouTube and typing in a college name, and you'll see students giving dorm tours, a day in the life of their experience at that college. You visit their classrooms, you talk to their friends on the video, you see the interaction. Really good stuff. The other thing is these forums. So there are social media where they have discussions about different colleges. So Reddit and subreddits. College Confidential is excellent. Instagram. There's a lot of sources out there, and it's straight from the source of the students. So that's a very, very good point to keep in mind. Okay, so one thing that's overlooked is so-called liberal arts colleges. Many folks are not familiar with that term, or they may have heard it, but they don't know what it is. So let me just briefly describe it. So in introducing this, I want to go back to the slide here. The US News, which is like I was saying, the gold standard in college rankings, there's a reason why they have this split. So there's a lot to be said about the meaning and the impact of liberal arts colleges if it's creating a separate list. So I just wanted to emphasize that this is a big deal. So what is a liberal arts college? So there are a few typical defining features about it. First of all, the size. It only has 2,000 students, give or take, which is much smaller than a typical university. So the private universities are larger, usually about 5,000 to 6,000, and the public universities, the flagship universities, like the Stony Brooks, the Michigans, the Virginias, those have 15, 20, 30,000 students. So it's smaller. They don't have graduate schools. So all the emphasis is on the undergraduate, and the professors are much more available. Class sizes tend to be smaller. And let me share this with you. So they get overlooked because since they're smaller, it's like the good quality brand that doesn't have the muscle to do the commercials. So it's not widely known. Doesn't mean it's not good. Many of them are comparable to the Ivies, which we all know about. But I'll share this with you. The elite private schools in New York City, I'm talking about like Dalton, Trinity, Fieldston, Horace Mann. Those are the big private schools in the city, mostly in Manhattan. 50% of those students go to liberal arts colleges, whereas the number in the public schools, the best public schools like Forest Hills High School, Townsend Harris High School, Bronx Science, etc., it's only 5%. And the reason I bring up that number is because it's really underappreciated. So I do want to at least draw your attention to it. And the financial aid is usually great. Okay, having said that, having introduced the private liberal arts colleges, I want to put this into a perspective. So every college can basically be thrown into one of these three buckets. So the private liberal arts I described, the private research universities, that's like the Ivies, University of Rochester, Carnegie Mellon, and then there's the public universities, which we know about. Okay, so they contrast. You really don't know if you're a senior or junior which would be best. You got to explore. And typically your list, when you finally do apply to college, we should have a mix of these different schools. I mean, it's hard to imagine that some students are completely sold on one of these, but you really want to keep your options open. Okay. And I just want to talk about public universities outside of New York State. So there's a huge difference between a public university in the state you live in our case, New York, and out-of-state public universities. Many public universities don't do much to try to recruit out-of-state students. The ones that do are usually the better ones. So Michigan, for example, is 40% out-of-state, UVA, 33%. So these are the best. I just listed some of them. This is just a subset. But these are some of the public universities as compared to Binghamton. The one thing I will give you a caveat though. So if you're applying out of state, like to Michigan or North Carolina, the financial aid, since they're state funded, the state is incented to provide the lion's share of the financial aid to their in-state residents. So if you're out of state, the financial aid is going to be fairly meager for a public university, not a private university, public university. It is meager if you're out of state. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay, so about the college list. So now you have all these tools to learn about the colleges. You visited the colleges. You've seen discussion forums. You've seen the YouTube videos. You've spoken to friends and guidance counselor. And now the challenge is to limit the list. There's a temptation to expand the list to 20, 25 schools. I really discourage that. My belief is that if you really do your research, it'd be hard to imagine getting more than 12 colleges that are really good fits. The advantage to it is if you've done your research, if you really are honest about where you stand and your skill set and your cultural values and where you think you'll thrive, the college admissions office is likely to see the same exact thing. And so limiting to this list has the advantage of saying that I know that I would fit in these colleges, and now you're likely to get into half or more of them if you've really done it right. And you want to do your homework now rather than after, because you're going to have to make a decision pretty soon. So May 1st is for regular decision, May 1st is the deadline to decide. If you're applying early decision, it's binding. So November 1st, that's coming up. So the list breakdown, this is what I recommend. I've been doing this a long time. There's a lot of research and thought goes into this. So 1 or 2 reach colleges. So what's a reach college? So a school that you'll have maybe a 10% chance to get into. A target college is you're more likely, about 50% chance, maybe higher. And a safety is pretty much sure to get in. So that should be a good list. If you're in this category, in this range here, I think you've done your homework. Okay. Let me go on. Okay, deadlines, especially seniors. It's creeping up. So the big deadline, the 2 big deadlines are early action, early decision. It's in the first half of November. You should check the college website and see what's exactly the date. But nearly all early decision is, and early action is first half of November. Regular decision is in January. Early decision is binding. I think I'm going to have a slide on that. Let me share that. Actually, I have an updated version of this, but let me just give this for now. The college timeline. Okay. A word about Naviance. No presentation on college admissions would be complete without this. So Naviance only came into existence, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, maybe less. So Naviance, about 70% of all the high schools in the country use this. One of the reasons why it's appealing to high schools is that Naviance has 2 portals, one for the student and one for the school. So the portal for the school allows the guidance office to communicate with all the colleges in a very simple, convenient way. So when a high school sends when you ask for a letter of recommendation, for example, the teacher will send it to the guidance office. They upload it into Naviance, and then they get to send it through Naviance. The high schools also send their high school profiles to the colleges that you applied to. That's also through Naviance. There's a host of other things that high schools use that the student can't see that make Naviance valuable to them. So you seniors are probably starting to hear from their guidance office at this point about how to use Naviance. And the list in Naviance should correspond to your list in the Common App, because you don't want that to be off, because the colleges only receive what Naviance says, what the list and copy. So you can maintain 2 college lists when you're ready to apply for college. So come January, late December, Many schools are going to say the list has to be final, like in mid-October for if you're applying early, and then sometime in like early December again. So the Naviance list has to be the same as the Common App list. So here's an example. This is on the student side. So one of the big features, most popular features in Naviance is the scattergrams. So every college has a scattergram where they tell you, I think this is 8 years of data, the last 8 years where students got in and where they were denied. So the check boxes represent where students got in. So of course, admissions is a holistic process. They look at everything, but it's hard to quantify everything. So Naviance just uses the only hard numbers that they have available to them, which is the SAT and their GPA. So this is just an estimate. You can see the check boxes all over the place because there's so many factors that go into it. But it gives you a rough idea of where kids are getting in. So for example, in this particular slide, obviously, you see this cloud here. So it kind of gives you a rough guide. Obviously, there are students that they got in, maybe they're a recruited athlete, maybe they did something spectacular for their community. They have great extracurricular activities. They got a great recommendation. I mean, there's many, many factors that go into college admissions, okay? Okay, so just there's so many variables involved that it's hard to even think about it. So there are many things that you want to consider when you're applying to a college: distance, size, academic rigor, the majors that are offered, the housing, diversity. Everyone has their own particular passions. But I will say one thing that if I were to share something with you about this, the most important thing is the vibe. It's hard to put your finger on that. You have to see the school. If it's such a big decision, you really can't overlook that. Visiting the school, seeing the school for yourself. It's so far beyond prestige. You want to go to a school where you're going to thrive, where you're going to grow. Let's say you got into an Ivy League school, and the prestige is so strong that you decide to go, and you don't feel comfortable there for many reasons. So you probably made a bad decision, because at the end of the day, what matters is how you've grown over the 4 years, not the name on a piece of parchment. I mean, maybe for your first job, maybe the second job, the prestige will matter. But I can tell you that I think most parents would agree that what gets you promoted in a career is who you are as a person, right? Not the degree. So that's something to think about. Okay, this is actually a better timeline. It's a lot easier to read. So I just want to go over the differences here, okay? So private colleges, nearly all of them have early decision. So the big thing about early decision, the scary thing about it is binding. It's legally binding. In fact, the student, the parent, and the school, your guidance counselor must sign a document talking about this binding restriction. So if you get in, you have to go. So you have to be very sure, and it takes a certain maturity to know that you're ready. So by the end of October, you should be locked in if you really want to go. Early decision. Again, this is private colleges. No public college in the country has early decision. They use early action. So early action is not binding. So you can apply early action, and there's no strings attached. In the public college space, there's an advantage usually for early action, and particularly for scholarships. So if you're thinking about applying to a public college, especially out of state, because the funding is limited, the only way you can get it is early. So please be aware of that and get the dates. So you create a spreadsheet. Okay. And regular decision is January. Many of the liberal arts colleges have 2 rounds of early decision. Most of them do, and some of the private ones do as well. I mean, universities do. So does it give you an advantage? Yes and no. Early decision, does it give you advantage? Well, there's something called demonstrated interest, where the school wants to see students who want to go there and have shown passion for the school. Because look, colleges, one of the most important things from a college, from from an admissions officer perspective, they want to choose students that really want to be there and that will thrive. The worst thing that can happen for a college perspective, admissions office, is to have an unhappy student. I mean, it just doesn't work for the student, doesn't work for the school. They might want to transfer. It's not a good situation. So the admissions office, that's one of the things that they're very careful about. Aside from all the qualifications, they want to see that you really want to be there and that you fit, that you're a cultural fit, you're an intellectual fit, you're a social fit. And I want to say something I said before because it bears repeating, that this idea of the fit is first and foremost in the colleges. So if the student is really doing their research and genuinely and honestly feels they're a fit there, there's a good likelihood the college will feel the same way, and then you'll get accepted. So that's a big deal. Here's an interesting spreadsheet. This one here. So does it give you an advantage? Some schools it does, some schools it doesn't. So this list kind of will help with that a little bit. So there's a lot of data out there. Let me share that in the chat. ED versus decision. Okay, so I'm just looking at some questions. I'm going to take a little breather here. So let me answer some of these questions. Can you pick more than one school for early action? Yes. The one exception is there's a very small number of schools that have single choice early action, in which case you can still choose other early action, but not early decision. So there's no school that limits the number of early action choices. Liberal arts colleges generally have 2 rounds of early decision. That's right. Any other questions? You can ask the question. Is that right, Francis? Okay. Let me go on. If there's any question, you can ask it right now, but I'm just going to take a minute or two if you have a question. I'm reading the chat right now. So one parent is asking, I don't understand how the vibe is of tantamount importance. Well, that's kind of my opinion, because the vibe is the culture, the feeling of the students. That's part of like what will make you happy. I mean, many of the colleges are very similar in terms of the curriculum. I mean, the books are very similar. I mean, the professors are usually pretty good. I mean, it's even at Harvard. I mean, there are professors that are not good communicators. I mean, I think the biggest difference between any college, whether it's Ivy League or public university or whatever, is the students. You're going to learn more from the students than you will from your professors. I can guarantee you that. And you want to be in a place where the students will inspire you, where they're interesting, they fit with you, that you feel comfortable there. So that's yeah. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about so now you have your list, and the natural next step is, how do you get in? So you've created a list of 10 or 12 colleges, and now you want to put together your application in the way that optimizes your application, increases your chances. So every admissions office thinks the same way. They want to build a community that is stimulating, that's diverse, that's interesting, that's going to get things done. That's a fun and a place to learn and grow. And like every community, it's going to have many different parts to it: athletes, artists, activists, academics. Okay, and to do that, they have to do a holistic review. If they just looked at your transcript, that's not going to tell the story. So they want to see what you've done. That makes a big, big deal. And that's what the pride of the admissions office is. So many of the rank and file admissions officers, people that actually read the files, are actually young. They typically have graduated. They're usually alums of that school. They're in their 20s and 30s. They're very idealistic. They want to find students that have these qualities. Okay. So for those students there, for those who have not opened the Common App, and I think that's probably the majority of seniors, we can do that together. So commonapp.org. This is it. This is your application right there, folks. Now I logged in already. Not there. Here. Okay. So this is I created your parents can create an account. It's called a practice account. You can see it at the very top here. The practice account. So you can get a sense of what's going on here. So the way it works is you're going to first populate the list. So you go to college search and you put in a college, Syracuse, for example. Right there. You add it. Okay, so I added it. So you add your colleges, Binghamton. It's already been added. You see the check mark. So you go to the dashboard. So these are the colleges that I haven't added from just whatever I was doing. I think I have 5 colleges in there, 6. Okay. Most of what you're going to be doing is actually in the 3rd tab. The reason why they call it a common app, this was a major development about 15, 20 years ago. Prior to the common app, every college had a unique application. And it was a big burden. I mean, it was everything. You had to basically go from scratch. The genius of this is that many of the key questions, demographic questions, the personal statement, is common to all the colleges. And I think there's like 900 colleges that participate in the Common App. Oh, just to show you, not every college is on there. Nearly every college is on there. Famously, the colleges that are not, I'll tell you right off from just experience, the only colleges that I know of that are not on the Common App are Georgetown, MIT, University of Wisconsin, and the UC system. Okay, those are not on there. Pretty much every other college is. So when you go to the Common App tab, the middle tab, this is where you're going to get like all the, you're going to load down all your information, demographic information, things about your school, your parents, everything, okay? Okay. So that's like a big deal. It's sort of a milestone when you create the account for the first time. Okay. Okay, I'm going to talk about some strategies to get in. So diversity, like I was saying, they want to build a community. So community is going to have a mix of skills, culture, personality, etc. So you definitely want to, if you have any of those, I mean, every kid is unique. You definitely want to show that on the application. So it could be shown in the activities list. It could be shown in the essays, specifically the personal statement. It'll come across in the letters of recommendation. You can upload information on the admissions portal, the applicant portal, that you'll get access to once you apply. So when you apply to a college, typically in January, within 24 hours, they're going to send you an email saying, basically, thank you for applying. Here's your link and username for the portal with a password. And you can change the password, of course, but then that's the way you communicate with the school from that point forward. If you need to upload like music that you've done or artwork, there are ways of doing that. Okay. They also could allow you to upload other supporting documents like a 3rd or 4th recommendation. Okay, so they want to see students, like I was saying, that's different. One of the best quotes I've ever heard that describes this is a circle with a spike in it. And what I take that to mean is that the student is rounded. I mean, you have to be a strong student. You have to be of solid achievements. But the spike is they really want to see someone who has like a 1 or 2 passions about something, and that has to come across. in the application. So it's something that it's hard for a 17-year-old to communicate this. This is one of the big challenges. The college decision is so important that it's worth all the effort to get this right. You only get to do it one time. You're only a high school senior applying to college once in your life. So let's take this very seriously. Okay, so this is the idea with the spike part of it, creating a theme. So the theme is like an overarching theme that's sort of threaded in all the ways that you communicate with the school, all the parts of the application, the awards, the activities that you get to list. You can list up to 10 activities, 6 awards. Their essays, and usually also many of the colleges have supplemental essays, usually 1, maybe 2, some have more. Like MIT has 7, Yale 6. But many of them, most of them have 1 or 2, some have none. So it's all part of the process. Okay. I'm just reading some of the chats if there's any questions. Why are they not? Someone's asking why they're not in a common app. I think a lot of it is because their application is so unique. They don't feel like they want to, they don't feel the flexibility is allowed there. That's the best guess I have. But almost every college is, so it is the exception. Okay. Good question there. Okay. Okay, so this is a good quote. Colleges are not looking for the well-rounded student. They're looking for the well-rounded class. And I think at this point, I've spoken about this. So yeah, you have to have strengths, but you really want to have something that's somewhat unique. Who you're not going to invent something unique. I mean, it's who you are, who the student is. So you really need to like investigate that and express that. Okay. So there's a lot of ways that you could communicate this. Again, the cultural fit. So that's part of what you're going to be doing. If you're going to fit in, that's a big part of admissions because they're looking for that fit. So the fit counts a lot more than you realize. So, you know, you've often seen probably or heard stories of a student that had great transcript and they didn't get into a school. They thought because maybe they weren't a fit. You know, in the end of the day, they might not have been as happy there as they think they would have been because these colleges really bend over backwards to accept students rather than reject them. Every single admissions officer I've ever spoken to, I've always said, we always think about accepting and then have to suffer through the rejection. It's not like, oh, we're going to reject you and accept you. It's like they want you until they prove that you don't. See, so in other words, you get the benefit of the doubt, essentially. Okay, so I've spoken about that. So the personal essay is a huge opportunity to share who you are. So this is not about an achievement. This should not really about like a resume. You can submit a resume. In fact, that's encouraged. This is about an opportunity to express something about yourself. It could be a story about maybe you went fishing somewhere and you had an experience, or a relationship you have with your grandmother, or there was one essay that I read that was excellent about the student walks his dog at night and he would see the stars and inspire him to be pursue astronomy. So there's so many ways that you can express who you are. It's difficult because the essay is unique. It is not an essay that you're going to submit to an English class. So one of the things I tell my students is when you're doing any kind of writing at all, whether it's a career or school, college, English, history, whatever, you're writing for an audience. And the audience is different. So the audience for this essay is the admissions office. So that's going to be a different way of approaching things than like an English teacher or a school newspaper. So one of the ways to get your arms around that is to, there are some good books out there, but many of the websites will actually share essays that they really loved. And a college, for example, Hamilton famously has like 20 essays that were the 20 best essays, Hamilton College. But each school have a different flavor for it. So actually you can learn something about the college just from that. Because that's showing you what they value, but also tells you what's considered prized. What kind of essays are prized? What kind of qualities of the essay are important. And I will share this with you. There's no one formula for the essay. It should be about you, absolutely about who you are. You can have other people involved, but you must be the central character. One of the common successful approaches is some kind of challenge that you've had in your life and how you overcame it. But one of the things that if you were to ask me, like, what is the one like secret that or most important component of a winning personal essay, it's this: knowing your audience. Okay, so you want the person reading it, the admissions officer, to want to root for you, want to support you. That's the most important thing, because if it goes to committee, and about 25% of the applicants go to so-called committee, meaning you're kind of on the gray area between acceptance and denial, that person is going to champion you. The admissions officer will have to present you. And the way they're presented makes a huge difference, because they present you for like 10, 15 minutes, and then the committee sitting around the table with 10 to 15 admissions officers, based on your presentation, and they'll ask some questions, but based on that 10-minute conversation, will vote, and majority rules. Okay, I can take some questions. You can put them in the chat. Or Francis, can they ask questions? Yes, people can submit resume. I'm just reading some of the questions on the chat. Is there any questions? Because so I can kind of summarize. That you want to do research. All that I shared that document that shares a lot of the resources available, but you want to use the web, the college websites. By the way, a lot of college websites have blogs that where students are actually paid to post blogs about their lives. That is really useful. Daily, these are students that were carefully chosen to share their experiences about the college. YouTube is great to getting insights for college-produced videos, most of which I've seen, almost all of which are excellent. Some of the students also put together these panels where they have like 3 or 4 students discussing different qualities about the college. So that's really terrific. The discussion forums are really excellent. That's Instagram, College Confidential, to name 2, subreddit, the newspapers, and visiting the school. So if you're asking me what's the single most important thing, it's visiting the school, and this is the season to do it, because during the summer the students aren't there. So if at all you can get away, you really should, even if you don't have a reservation, which many of them are sold out, especially on the weekends. Just hop in the car or take the train. Many of the good colleges are within 4-hour drive of New York. So do a college tour on the weekends if you can. Like an overnight, so you can hit. Usually see like 3 or 4 colleges a day. So if you go on a weekend, that's probably 7 or 8 colleges, 6 to 8 colleges, depending on how you do it. And during the week, even if you want to get away, like these holidays, like the holidays coming up, Rosh Hashanah, Monday, Tuesday, very, very few colleges get holidays. They get fall break, a week off in October typically, and a week off in March. But all those holidays, like that public high schools get, like Veterans Day, Election Day, etc. Those are non-holidays at college, so you can go and go into the class and talk to students. Okay. So the one question about the SAT, I didn't really talk about the SAT that much. So the SAT has been trending to be less important. It's still important, but it's trending to be less important, and it depends on the college. Every college in the country, with very few exceptions, is now SAT optional. Should you submit the SAT? That is a very personal decision. You know, it depends on your feeling about it. I mean, my personal opinion, if you're asking me, is generally speaking, is to send it, because it's showing honesty and transparency, and I think those are qualities that colleges applaud. They want that. So, and it's who you are. So if it's great, it's great. If it's not, that doesn't mean you're not a great student, right? So let them make the decision. I'm a big believer in sending it. But it's very personal decision. So every person is different. Yeah, I'm just looking through the chat. Yeah. So yeah, and by the way, the transparency, everyone is different. So the application is basically the vehicle. So you have the numbers. They get the transcript. They get to see that. They get to read the letters of recommendation. They want to know who you are, because the admissions officers don't do interviews. So they get to know only through the application what they read. So it's very important to try to communicate who you are. And it's a matter of maturity too, because it takes a lot to kind of open yourself up to a stranger, admissions officer who you've never met before. It's a very difficult thing to do. But there are rewards if you're able to do that. One thing I didn't mention was the interview. So not every college has it. The liberal arts colleges tend to all have the interview. Not all of them do, but I would say 90% do. And most of the private universities do. The publics generally do not have interviews. The public colleges, like the Binghamton and Michigan, Virginia, they don't have it, rarely. But the interview can make a difference. It doesn't mean that much. It's limited, but it can make a difference. It's another data point. So they will read that. A lot of it's subjective. So a lot of it is sort of a roll of the dice, because who reads it, they might sort of vibe with you. They might when the admissions officer might identify with you, or for whatever reason, they connect to you, and they're more likely to want to admit you. So there is a luck factor involved. That's why there's these, you can associate probabilities with getting in to colleges. There's a crapshoot. That's why you're not going to apply to one college. You want to apply to at least 8 colleges. Okay.
Bill, sorry, I just wanted to check in. First of all, I just want to say I'm so proud of everyone, because the notes are so good. And I just want to remind you, so let me think about this, because I want to figure out how to reward everyone. What is my system? How about, is it okay if you guys type your names into the chat? Is that okay? Type your names in the chat if you took notes, okay? And I think that's what we're gonna do. And you will go to the PTA and you will get swag. And Effie, Elena, if anyone is available, we're closing up, right, Bill? So type your name into the chat. You will get swag, compliments of Kweller Prep, because we want to support all of you. And some people call it bribery, we call it incentives. All right, so please, because you took good notes, everyone, please type your name. I'm actually going to take a screenshot, okay? Bill, isn't this a wonderful group of kids? Good, aren't they so good?
Yeah, the questions are really good.
Right?
Yeah, they were, and they're helpful. They also.
By the way, can you guys also get a friend to join the webinars? Try to get another person to join the webinars. We want to have more turnout, because of course, I'm actually going to go off the video. Forest Hills High School, as many of you know, it's very close to our location, and we want to keep building this, and we really want to keep offering this. I kind of want to explain to you how the tax dollars work. This money, this opportunity, everything we're doing right now it's just gonna be wasted if you're not active. We need you to be active. Oh, can you also please type in how the presentation, if you're able to just type in the chat box. Let's say thank you to Bill. Can everyone please also say thank you to Bill, because this is truly an expert. And I also want to just take a moment to say thank you for your soft, temperament and calm demeanor, because this is really, an anxiety-inducing moment. And oh my God, Elaine, is that your baby? The baby's so cute. Oh my God, I'm in love. I'm in love. Baby, you want to see your doggy? Everyone, let's take a moment to say thank you to Bill, Elena. If you're able to, I really just want to say thank you so much to Bill, to everyone who's
Thank you.
here.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Kweller. Thank you to all the 40 participants that we have here today. Please
This is a wonderful turnout. I'm very satisfied. I just want to keep growing.
Yeah, so I think as Ms. Kweller said, please pass on the message to your friends. Join with your children. I know that some of the children are already here. No, my son just ran away. But this is really, really informative, and we appreciate all the learnings. So this will be happening, these type of webinars, every Thursday at 7 p.m. because we want to get there with, you know, by the time we need to apply to colleges, right? Which is
Yes, 100.
December 1st, and I guess January 1st, right?
Yeah, I just want to let you know, this is a very, oh, I'm so sorry, Effie, I'm gonna mute you. Hold on. My apologies. I just want to remind all of you, this is our big opportunity right now. Effie, here you go. Please, I'm asking you to unmute. Okay, I'm also giving you guys my adorable dog that you're gonna see. I'm gonna spotlight. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Okay, who wants to see a cute doggy? Look at that. Look at that love. All right, Effie, if you're there, we would love to hear you as well.
I'm
Go
here.
right ahead.
I'm here. I cannot compute with that cuteness, so I'm just going to stay off camera. Thank you all the parents for coming. Please, we're going to have one seminar every week. Please encourage your friends to come. Try to bring a friend to these seminars. Next one is next week on financial aid, I believe.
Yes. And
very
Bill
important.
is leading it, by the way. Bill will be leading that webinar as well. All right. Go ahead. Effie, as you were saying.
So yeah, so Bill has what is it, 2 decades of experience or more, like with financial aid and college application. So let's use his experience and his knowledge to help benefit all of our students at Forest Hills High School. Let's try to get them into the best colleges that we can. We have expert guidance here, so let's make the best use of it. Again, encourage everybody you know, especially seniors, but 9th grade is not too early to start. Please encourage everybody to come to these seminars. We work hard to put them together. We would love to see everybody succeed.
And I just want to let all of you know, it's 40 this time. We would love to keep building, making the numbers higher. I just want to remind all of you that we're very, personally and professionally attached to Forest Hills High School. I do want to share with you, I first met Bill from the Townsend Harris High School PTA, and I felt that, he was so talented and so knowledgeable. And something that really stood out was how calm he was, to deliver this information, which a lot of people can't do. Goldie's looking at me. All right. And I just want to share that with you. This is a very special moment because, this information is being delivered to us in a very calm way. So please keep that in mind. Also, Bill is a gifted statistician and mathematician, and this is truly someone who can give us data, which he created, and the charts. So I do want to share that with you. Everyone, please remember that we're going to keep running the webinars, and Forest Hills High School is near and dear to us. We want to have more of these webinars. We're going to post this. We're going to make sure that we have this on YouTube so that you have it as well. And I want to share this. So everyone, let's give Bill a huge thank you. What I'm going to do is, if we could all just type thank you to Bill again for this amazing information. He's also going to do the FAFSA and CSS profile as well. I just want to remind you as you're typing thank you to Bill in the chat that I'm a child of immigrants. I want to stress that. Myself and Kweller Prep is truly designed to help many children of immigrants, first generation. That's what we want to do. We want to help children who don't always, have this type of access and this type of opportunity. I never had this, and I didn't have it, and it means so much that as an adult that I'm able to assist. Thank you so much. Please remember that this is a partnership. I really want to take a moment to thank Elena and Effie. I definitely want to thank the school principal and all of the members of the PTA at Forest Hills High School as part of the Title I Parent Engagement Initiative. I'm really thankful that we have this moment together, and I just remember this is personally and professionally very meaningful to me, and this is information that we want to make sure you receive. Okay, I am very happy that we got to be in the meeting. Who loves the dog? Okay, thank you, Bill. Thank you for a wonderful, informative webinar. Thank you for all the data, all the information. Thank you to the students for taking such good notes. Okay, we are all set. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to allow everyone quickly. Let's unmute. We're going to say thank you to Bill, and then we're going to close up the whole chat. So I'm going to go to the chat right now. Okay, hold on. And I'm going to unmute. How do I do this? I don't. Hold on. Please bear with me. We're going to say, please bear with me for one moment. Okay, hold on. Please bear with me. Hold on. One moment. Bill, do you know how to do unmute for the chat? 1 second, everyone. Just a moment. Oh, here we go. Everyone, please take a moment and say thank you to Bill. I'm going to count to 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you,
Bill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Good
Thank you
night.
for the data.
Night.
Thank
everybody.
you for the statistics. Thank you for the
Thank
advice.
you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Guys, thank you to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you to everyone for taking notes. Thank you to the
Thank
students
you.
for listening. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. All right. Thank you to Goldie. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye, everyone. We're closing up. Thank you. Bye, Bill. Have a good night. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.